So I'll hand this over to you, Pratima and Praveen. You might start, Pratima.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ashnoor, for such a warm welcome and introduction. Uh, I would like to first say that there are many colleges and universities in UK which do offer actual science courses, but I think Praveen and me would be focusing more on University of Kent and Bayes Business School because we have studied, or Praveen is studying from that university. Uh, as well as we would try to first give you an overview of actuarial science courses in UK, especially about the courses that we have studied or Praveen is studying. Then I guess we'll have a panel discussion wherein Ashnoot or Gunjan would ask us common questions or concerns that students have. And then we will have the opportunity, you guys will have the opportunity to ask us questions uh, about your doubts or anything you want to know about UK or how to study here and get job. Yeah. Praveen, would you like to add something to this? You're
You're
on
on.
mute. You're on mute. Yeah.
Thanks for the welcome. And yeah, like Pratima said, so she did her masters in Kent. I am doing my masters in Bayes. So I'll know more about Bayes and in general. So yeah, I'll be telling you about how the course is structured, what are the exemptions you can get, and the cost of living is different in Kent, Edinburgh, and London. Another thing that I'm assuming that everybody is here looking at the higher level papers like CP onwards, because both of us have done that masters. But if there is also a lot of opportunity for people who are doing, I mean, the lower level papers, and there are a lot many universities that offer those exemptions as well. But I mean, it's not really it's a good idea financially to take that up. That's my opinion. But yeah, we can carry on with the presentations.
I want to really say this. We are here to share our experiences and not tell you what to do. So yes, this is something I want every student to follow and understand this point. Thank you so much, Ashnoot. We can move to the next slide. Oh, this is just a glimpse of how the Canterbury campus of University of Kent looks like. So they have two other campus, but all their actual science courses are based in this campus, and it's a huge campus. So I just thought, why not give you a glimpse of that campus? Yeah, Praveen.
Yeah, this is the Finsbury Park based business school, but actually all our classes happen in the Bunhill Row campus. And so we have four different buildings that are in different parts of the city. So there's Bunhill Road, there's Finsbury Park, there is Northampton Square. Northampton Square is the biggest building. So we have pretty much most of our classes are in Bunhill Row. And unlike University of Kent, our campus is just 4 floors, and that's it. So that's all it is. But yeah, it's right in central London, so that's the added benefit. But yeah, I mean, a bigger campus is definitely a good thing to have.
I agree. Okay, so I will start by talking about the different courses that are available at University of Kent. If I talk about the bachelor's degree, the University of Kent offers one actual, like the most prominent one is Actuarial Science BSc. So it's a 3-year course, and that gives you exemptions for 6 actuarial papers, if I'm not wrong. Yes, 6 exemptions out of 13. Like if you scored the desired marks that the university and the institute would want, then you get 6 exemptions out of the 13 papers. One more exciting thing about that course is that you get the chance to learn software such as Profit and R, which of course helps you develop your skill, and it is an added advantage whenever you go outside and look for jobs. The another thing that I have seen, which I never knew in India, was that they do offer a year in industry. So this, what do you mean by a year in industry? Basically, in the middle of your course or towards the end of your course, you have the opportunity to go and work in the industry for a year. So if I talk about the bachelor's degree, you do your first year, you do your second year, and the third year is your internship or a year in an industry where you go to a company, work as an actual intern or industry or placement student in that company. And the fourth year, you come back, study in the university, study there for 3 year, study your third year, and then finish your graduation. And for international students, this is beneficial because if you come as a student, you get 3 year student visa. But if you take this degree, you get 4 year student visa. So basically, in that student visa, you can work for 1 year in that third year. When I talk about masters, they have two degrees. One is the applied actuarial science, which I have studied. And this degree gives you exemptions for CP subjects and 2 SP subjects, or 3 if you select your modules in such a way, but minimum of 2 and SP subjects you need to do. There's another degree that gives you exemptions for the initial papers. That is also 1 year degree, and that will give you exemptions for the CM1, CM2, CS1. I'm not very sure how you select your modules for that particular degree, but yes, I know that they do offer that degree for 1 year, and you're able to get exemptions for around 4 to 5 initial papers. Yeah, that's all. And you can also do a combined degree of 2 years, wherein you study 1 year the initial papers, second year the higher papers, the CP and the SP subjects. In the master's course also, you get the chance to learn profit, R, introduction to actuarial research, etc., depending on which modules do you select. Praveen, would you like to share about BASE?
Yeah, so similar to Kent, we have a BSc Actuarial Science. It gives you exemptions from the first 6 papers, basically core principles minus CB3. And we have a master's. We have 2 master's degree. One is master's in Actuarial Science, and another is master's in Actuarial Management. Actuarial Science is basically again the 1 year version of the BSc Actuarial Science, where you get exemptions from the core principles minus CB3. The one that I am doing, Actuarial Management, gets you CP1, CP2, CP3, 2 SPs, and you also have the opportunity, if in case you want to, you can do CM2, CS2 as well. So it's structured in a manner ki you definitely have to take 2 SPs, but that third paper could either be CP2, it could either be CM2, it could be CS2. So in case you have um, so basically the eligibility for the actuarial management is that you should have CM1 and CS1. So if you have CM1 and CS1, you're eligible to do the actuarial management. So you can come here, and in the first term, you can also take CB1 and CB2. But then what happens is you only need you're only allowed 3 choices in which you can take. Out of those, 2 are for SP. So only one thing you can do, which is CM2, CS2, or CB2, CB1, any of those papers. Like they in the management degree also, they allow you to take one of those previous papers if you have it left. And then so the course is structured in 3 terms. Term 1 is CP1 and 2 compulsory papers on research methods and marketing. Term 2 will have CP1 again, but you'll have your SP. Okay, because I am doing SP5 and 6, I have both the papers in term 2. So that information you can get on the website, but like term 1 will have 1 SP and CP, second term also you'll have 1 SP CP, and third term it's either 5 electives or a business research project or an applied research project. A business research project would be like only research, 5,000 word dissertation. Applied research is a 3,000 word research project, and then you also have to take 3 electives, and otherwise you can take 5 electives. So those are the options available, and all of that is on the website. So yeah, I mean, about the degrees, that is as such, but I'm gonna complete the slide. So for example, if you take fees fees for the course itself is 23,000 pounds, which roughly equals 23 lakh. Uh, Hope for the UK economy to crumble further and you can save a lot on the exchange rate. So that's happening. And in fact, like all of Europe is kind of in a financial turmoil right now. So let's not go there. But I did definitely have a good time because pound fell. Then modules I just told you, exemptions, yeah. So it's easier to get a pass here. The only reason is that you don't have to cover all of IFOA syllabus. Like in CP1, I'm sure even Kent doesn't teach as much IFOA wants you to read. IFOA gives 50 chapters to read, and we literally have 8 or 9 chapters, and that also is um, it's pretty much industry application. It's none of the extra theory. It's just pure industry application. The teachers teach out of industry experience, and they really don't so they want you to talk, like they prepare you for the boardroom, they prepare you for your job, and rather than studying all the 50 chapters on the material. A key aspect of the modules is that we have projects. So I have friends in SP7 right now. They are doing a full-fledged VBA model for runoff triangles, and they have to do like some 10,000 simulations and get like claim projections. If some of you have given CM2, uh in I think CM2 has runoff triangles, right? All of that, so you're doing Monte Carlo simulations to generate several claims data. I'm not very comfortable with general insurance, so I'm not very sure what they do, but I heard and it sounded interesting. So 20 marks out of your 100 marks is just that. So you have to make models. Coursework is a very big thing. CP1, we have to create a full insurance model, including stochastic depth and stochastic investment calculations on VBA. So apparently VBA is a very highly, I mean, good. I mean, it's a very good skill to have here because m- most companies are still working on VBA, and like Python is catching up, but VBA, Python, R are equally important. So I just on Friday submitted a project on R. So half of your time is going to go on coding and making these applications, and half of your time is going to go into learning how the industry works. So there is very less theory that you need to learn. That's the course structure and how the teachers teach. One thing is that unlike if you expect a college system like India, right, where you have 5 hours of classes every day, and the teacher is trying to take everybody along, that is not something that you should expect here. They just go, and you have, if you don't understand, then you have to spend additional time reading, asking doubts. You'd like have to email the professors and do all of that stuff so that you can catch up, and that's a really big part of studying here. Exams for base this year are offline. They had online exams last year, but they are done with it. And they also our last year's exams were open book as well. This year it's no longer open book, it's all closed book and offline, which is nice, I think. Open book exams, I have a strong opinion on open book exams. I don't like them. uh Industrial placement here, we don't have an industrial placement here because the master's degree is basically 1 year degree. They want you to finish it and then just start working. So when you come here on a student visa, you also have the ability to work 20 hours a week, which if you are able to manage, you should. And there is a lot of opportunity, actuarial opportunities as well. A lot of companies, you either can work at like McDonald's or some Tesco or something, or if you can get yourself an actuarial internship, you can go work there as well. And it's a really, if you are able to manage the coursework, like the coursework is, even though I'm saying it's only 8 chapters or 9 chapters, it is still heavy work. It's it's unlike what we have studied so far, and it's so you will have to spend more time on that. And do not discount the fact that you will also be taking care of yourself, managing your health and schedules and all of those things. So it kinds of is a balance. You don't necessarily have to work 20 hours, you can work 10 or 15, whatever works, but that is also available. But there's no industry placement in a 1 year course. Softwares, like Pratima said, like all of these courses are very bullish on software. Like in term 3 we have 3 electives that are pretty much on Python. One is for machine learning, one is for copula modeling, and another is for, I think, natural language processing. Apparently they use NLP algorithms to like parse through data and get insight out of it for GI, which is interesting. But I mean, only when we go there we get to understand like what is happening in the industry. Also, it's like a, and also they won't be teaching you much of the coding. They'll just directly jump into the nitty gritty parts and the juicy parts. So all the basics you have to know. Otherwise, you if you come here and then you start learning the basics, it will just throw you off, and that's not something that is desirable. As far as scholarships go, there are uh, university scholarships, and then there are British Council scholarships. University scholarships, I think Base Business has two. One is for £5,000 and one is for £4,000. This is I think fenced for Indian and Asian students, not Asian, not China, but I think Pakistan, India, and I think
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. I think those are the parts that this is fenced for. So there are like five, total 9 scholarships. So five are for £5,000, four are for £4,000. You need to prove academic excellence. Is this better now? Yeah. So you have to prove your academic excellence, and you need to prove that you are in financial need, and then they will judge and give you the scholarships. If you're lucky enough, you'll get the scholarship, and getting the scholarship is pretty good. There is one British Council scholarship that I heard of, which is a fully funded for a, this is for women basically. It's for women who are in all these STEM subjects, including actuarial science, because M. And if you get it, you get all of your fees reimbursed. You get a stipend for living here, which is better than what you will actually need. So all of those things. So there's some British Council scholarships that you can look out for. There are a few. There are a few people here whose companies have paid their education fee, but I don't think anybody in India is going to do that. You can ask if there's somebody who would be willing to do that, because maybe if you're working in a WTW and uh, you can just transfer to their office here or something like that. If that works out, like, always knock on doors, always try to find an opportunity for yourself. That's always going to be there. So uh yeah, I think I've covered. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Praveen. If I talk about the University of Kent eligibility criteria, then for the master's degree, they need you to pass a few of your initial subjects. I think it was 4 or 5 initially, but I've also seen people get admission without having so many papers passed. I think it's case to case basis. It depends entirely. They actually review each application, read your essays. Essay is a very important personal statement, as we say. It is a very important aspect of applying abroad. So you have to be uh, very thoughtful when you write your personal statement, and try to review it, get it proofreaded by friends, by mentors. And if you're taking help of a third party to get admissions abroad, even they do provide services of reviewing your personal statement. So I think at least University of Kent, what I have experienced is that they see your overall profile, they see your personal statement, they see your number of papers already passed. They also see how much did you score in your undergraduation degree back in India. and other activities, work experience, and everything else. About fees, currently the website states 21900. So basically £21,900 for 23-24. But I would suggest keep checking the website. These get updated. So yes, and this is for the 1-year course. And if you take the industry placement degree, then they charge you around 2,000 or so pounds extra. Can do or offer an industrial placement degree in masters as well. So what they do, you appear for your CP subjects in May, and you go for a year in industry. Then you come back in August and appear for your SP papers. This is how University of Kent offers industry placement year in a master's degree. About modules, for the MSc in Applied Actuarial Science, there are two compulsory modules, that is CP1 and CP3. You need to take these two modules, and it is compulsory for you to select 2 SP papers. They offer SP2, SP5, SP6, SP7, SP8, SP9. So among these, you can select any 2 SP papers. CP2 is optional, but you can take it. Like you have to take other modules to complete your 180 credits. So you can take either CP2. You also have an option of taking a third SP paper. A lot of my classmates have studied 3 SP exams in 1 year. I would not recommend that because it is too much of work and study. But if someone is keen to study 3 SP papers, you have the chance to do that as well. In a master's degree at University of Kent, this particular one, you cannot take any other module from the initial papers like CM1, CM2, or CS1. I think BASE do offer, Praveen, if I'm not wrong, that you can take CM2 in your master's degree, but Kent doesn't offer that. You can only study CP subject, SP subjects, and the other modules that they offer. Apart from these modules, they have two profit modules. They have, I think they have, this year they have just got 1 profit module, 1 R module, and 1 introduction to actuarial research. So depending on how you select your modules, you will be able to study 1 or 2 of these. You can't, you don't have to study all 3 industry software modules. About exemptions, University of Kent usually give individual exemptions if you score 60% in CP subjects and SP subject. But this is not valid for CP2 and SP9. Every year, CP2 and SP9 exemptions are based on discretion. There is no particular percentage for that, at least in my understanding. For other subjects, you can get an exemption from IFOA if you score 60% and high. There is also a concept called block exemptions over here, which basically means that if you score above 50% in each of your modules and you score an aggregate of 60%, then you are given exemptions on subjects where you've not got individually 60%. So for example, if you score 60% in all your modules, but you don't score 60% in SP2, for example, you score 55 in that. But the aggregate is higher than 60. So you will get exemption in SP2 as well because your aggregate is 60% and higher. So you can read about this in details in the website. So don't worry about it. But yeah, this is one rule. Even Kent is now taking offline exams. Until last year, it was online open book exams. And as Praveen said, even I strongly, I also have very strong opinions about online exams. But yeah, I'm happy that they have shifted to offline exams. And this is one important aspect for students to consider, I would say, because they are going to take offline exams in the future. This is what the university has said. For scholarships, it is almost the same what Praveen has said. There's nothing different. I don't think University of Kent has many options for scholarships for international students for this particular degree, apart from the British Council one. But again, the website has a detailed explanation of all kinds of scholarship and how to apply. specifically if you're looking for scholarships, I would say please start applying for the degree as soon as possible, so that you, as soon as you get admissions, you have plenty of time to apply for different scholarships. So this is one suggestion I would say to the students. Yeah, that's all.
I'd like to add a few things. Base business does not have an SP9 exemption.
Yeah.
They are working on it. They might. So our course director told us this year, but this is not available to us. They are working on an SP9/SP10 exemption as well. So check the website if you any of you are interested in doing SP9 or SP10. Those might be available next year, but right now they're not. So
Yeah.
that's one thing you need to think about. And all of the 60% criteria is the same in base as well. I mean, uh, rather than thinking too much about it, if you're coming here, just get more than 60 in every paper and you're sorted. That's it. Like if that doesn't happen, then you can think about stuff, but just don't get less than 60. That's what I would say.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
One more thing I'll just like you both to answer with respect to, when does the curriculum start? So like the next cycle, academic cycle, when would it be starting?
It's I mean, if you're talking about applications, they're starting now. Like in 10 or 15 days they'll start taking applications. And I mean, it's not, people have applied in April and Feb and still gotten in, so
Yeah.
that's not a problem because there are a few takers of actuarial management. But it's still in, like, a lot of people do show up. Like, it's 70 is a decent strength. At base, Pratima can talk about Ken's strength in the class. But yeah, if you apply sooner, you have more time to apply for your visa, you have more time to apply for your scholarships, you have more time to plan things. So that's so the cycle will, like, I mean, applications start in November and the university will start in September next year.
Okay, so September 2023 is what the dates will be. And as for the applications, as they mentioned, you can start applying. Again, just one more thing, keep in mind, keep checking the website. Things might change and all. So what we might be discussing in this particular session today, things might change later on. So always do keep in mind to check the website and rely on the information given there rather than relying on information provided by maybe us or even some of your peers. The website is the official source of truth. Pratima, what about you? Is it the same for Kent? 2023 September. That's when the next batches will be starting.
Yes, it's September 23. And as Praveen said, I think Kent has already started their applications for next year. If you want scholarships and you need, like, I think you should apply as soon as possible, especially if you are thinking of going to Kent. The most important thing is that I think you need to submit your transcripts. Whenever I talk to students individually, I do ask them to at least get their transcripts ready from, like, I studied from University of Calcutta, and as much as I remember, it took a while for them to attest my transcripts and give me. So even if you are confused, at least I would say get your documents ready, even if you are not sure if you want to go or not, because a few things are not in your hand. Like getting your transcript is not like you can get it in a day. So you need to have certain number of days in your hand to be able to get it. So at least get your documents ready. More or less the documents are same every year, so apart from a few differences. So I would say read the website, know what exactly do you need for your application, get that ready, and yeah, apply. And yes, the degree starts from September 23 to September 24. Applications are already open. Uh, Praveen, one of the students
Yeah,
is actually asking that does BASE also have aggregate score exemption?
yeah, they do. They have that aggregate thing. Like, if you get more than 60 in your degree, you get all the exemptions. If you get more than 70, you also get a first class distinction thing, which is better. Yeah.
Okay.
uh I mean, WTW has already a lot of secondment opportunities. You can just look on their web portals and stuff, you'll find something there. The thing about transfer is, if you're already in the UK business, right? If you're in the UK business of WTW here, you have a much higher chance of getting employed because you already know stuff. So Even if you, let's say, quit WTW there and then come here and apply to the same team, you will get the job. That's what, and that is there. But otherwise, internally, if you have, you know, connections and you can talk to managers, you've been interacting with the UK team a lot, ask. It's never going to hurt you. Like, don't make it weird with your managers or something. Like, don't go behind their back and asking some other manager what's going on. Follow the procedure. I have two friends here who are from WTW, but they quit their jobs and came here. But there are people from other countries like Kenya who have been sponsored by their employer and they'll be going back to Kenya. So there are things that are there. So if it's just like, if you try to find stuff, you'll definitely get something. uh I'll answer a question before. Like, Ishna had asked, like, if the turmoil is a bad thing to apply. Like, I mean, it's relative, right? Like, whenever there's financial turmoil, there will be layoffs, but I think it's a good thing for a risk professional, because every single model out there is failing. Okay. So I mean, so it's scope to make new things, make better robust models, or backtest differently. It's always there. So, and also learning during, like, so we have interactions right now with our professors about the mini budget and how the like German subsidies are probably gonna destroy the European markets, and how the war is affecting insurance, and how, like, there was something about Russia stopping grains on ships that have been loaded from Ukraine. Everything is a mess. So you get to learn more when there is more chaos. So that's my take on it. Jobs are not going anywhere. So and neither is high salaries here. I mean they might increase taxes because Liz Truss did a really bad job in 45 days. So that's probably going to happen because they have a fiscal deficit. So taxes might go up. It's already like, if you're gonna, let's say, actual salaries are like 40-45K, if you're lucky, you might be in the 40% bracket already. So if it's gonna go up, you're probably losing half your salary in taxes. So that's also something to consider. But in the end, it's a mix and match. uh it's up to you what you think about it. Like, I mean, the turmoil doesn't really affect your chances, or affects the learning at all. And yes, work visas. So there is now what I applied to was a student visa, which automatically converts to a 2-year graduate visa, which allows me to work for 2 years in UK if no employer sponsors my visa. What that basically means is that in case I don't end up getting a job, or no employer is willing to sponsor my visa, I can apply for a work visa for 2 years, work with a company here, and after that an employer might be ready to sponsor my visa. So you have that buffer. But most employers just sponsor your visa, so that's not a problem. So you will get work. If you get work, you'll get that work visa. So that's basically how it is. And if you don't get work, just apply for the graduate visa. You get 2 years extension on your visa. No, it does not affect. Like, if you're working in US, like, insurance, how much insurance is going to change, right? Like, if, for example, except for GI and some assumptions, nothing is changing. Everywhere the models are pretty much the same. Interest rate, inflation, demographic, like health status, like, you just have to change the tables behind and the model just runs. So having any experience is good, because you know how things work, and that's what they need. They just need your transferable skills. Like, you know how to work stuff. So that's what they care about. I think Yash's
Sorry to
questions are
cut you.
directed to you.
I'll just say we would be taking a lot of your queries. We'll just, allow the speakers to first complete on their part. It might be that a lot of your queries could get addressed through that itself. Apart from that, yeah, I mean, do have some patience. We would be addressing all your queries right towards the end. So, I mean, either of you could go ahead and talk about the various expenses which might be involved for somebody who's planning to do masters.
I can go ahead if you want me to. Yeah.
Yes.
The cost of the visa is 35,000 rupees and 70,000 for the NHS surcharge. Basically, if you get ill, you can go to a doctor for free. Just because we don't pay tax here, we have to pay NHS. Like after you start paying tax, you don't have to pay that NHS surcharge. So all in all, your visa expense should be about a lakh. uh then the tuition fee is 23,000 pounds. Accommodation is a tricky one. It would be different for Kent, Edinburgh and London. London is very much like at least twice as more expensive than Kent or Edinburgh. uh, Accommodation, if you take a student hall or something, you might be looking at spending between 800 to 1200 pounds a month. So about 80,000 to 12 lakh, sorry, 1 lakh 20. But if you go for something like private accommodation like spare room or something and you stay farther away from the university, you might also get something for like 500 pounds a month, which is cheaper, but you'll have to travel a lot. And that's a trade-off you have to make. Like, if traveling is really exhausting in London, especially because it takes a lot of time, and you might get yourself drained by traveling. But if you think you want to save that cost, then you might as well take a private accommodation. So that's that. Food should be about 150 to 250 pounds if you're cooking everything by yourself and making sure that you don't splurge on fancy grocery or too much fancy stuff. Then 150 to 250 should be sufficed. For your entertainment, I'm going to include this in food because obviously you won't be eating every day at home. So if you eat out or something monthly, I mean, let's say 100 pounds you might be expending on like entertainment. Entertainment is basically all your activities, even including eating out. Books, IT and stationery. Books, so the university gave us two notebooks and I've been just using that. So uh, I don't think we need a lot of notebooks here. They don't even say, like, you don't even have to write a lot. So everything is just PowerPoint, and people are using their iPads and write on it. So um, if you are a book person, you won't, and books are not like, books is negligible compared to all the other costs. So books I don't think will impact a lot. IT, you just get a basic laptop. If you have a laptop has an 8 GB RAM and a decent i5 chip, you are sorted. uh Prefer not getting a Mac because a lot of this Excel stuff will get impacted because it does not have all shortcuts. So if you are somebody who uses Excel a lot, I mean, Windows is better, but it's up to you. I mean, you can get a Max. They have student discounts as well. And also, if you have to buy a new one, buy it in India. It's cheaper there. UK is costlier for electronics. US is cheaper. UK is not. All of Europe is not cheap for electronics. Stationery, I basically, they haven't bought anything yet. My like basic 3 pens that I got are still running. So when I do go and buy, I don't even know the prices at this point. So socializing and entertainment, it's a, like, for example, London is a super multicultural city, and you can go, there is a million things to do for free here. And I've been here for 50 days now. I've gone to one. So I've gone to like museums basically. But yeah, but socializing, you can go to pubs, general stuff, um, museums. Uh, Depends on your friend group as well, like what kind of friends you make here, what your interests are. So there's a ton of things. Like, if there is any interest you have, there is something in London to do for it. Like, that's how it is. People I've heard, so I've spoken to people in the industry here, so they're here for 5 years and they still haven't explored London fully. And that's how big it is, and that's how much there is to see. So that's about that. Travel is depends. So if you live close to the university, you're going to basically walk. But if you live farther away, so bus passes are 60 pounds a month, tube passes are 100 pounds a month. So if you live far away, to save on your rent cost, you will pay 100 pounds for coming to university on tube. So always account for that total cost and not just the basic rent cost. Take rent plus your travel cost because you have to reach the university. So when you make your decisions, do that as well. Healthcare, no expense unless you have, except dental surgeries and skills, dental stuff and skincare also cosmetic, you'll have to pay a lot of money, but everything else that's needed to survive or basic health, or if you get injured, that's all free. Because not free, because you paid 70K for NHS surcharge during the visa application. So you, it's a weird thing, like you have paid 70K, if you want to use it you have to fall ill, but it's better not to fall ill. It's a weird thing, yeah. And uh, other expenses are probably your one-time expenses. When you come here, you'll have to buy cold protection jackets, duvets. All of those things are going to happen. So it's probably around 200 to 200 pounds, 200 to 250 pounds. That's going to definitely be the case with all your jackets, thermals, gloves. You can get stuff from India, but I mean, I'm not sure if it can handle London temperatures. It's goes, I think the lowest it goes is 0. So yeah, if you've been, if I some of you have been on treks, just get that trek gear. I got my trek gear. So that's a hack you can do to save some money.
For Kent, I would say that definitely there's the cost of living is little less compared to London. If you if you're a postgraduate student, mostly there's the Wolf College accommodation, which is the university accommodation, where you usually get rooms. So all are single. In at Wolf, every room is a single. Like sharing room, only you stay, and they are en suite, so you will have your own bathroom. Depends on the kind of room you select. A number of people would share kitchen, or you can also select a studio room where you will yourself you will have a separate kitchen itself in the room. So it's a room, it has a kitchen, it has a bed, and it has a bathroom. So that's the studio room. So it depends on you. So it depends on what kind of accommodation do you take. It would cost you a certain like, so Ken says on its website that it can cost you around per week 105 pounds to 279 pounds, depending on whether you stay outside the college or university, or inside the university accommodation. Kent is a fairly small English town, so even if you stay outside the university, you can walk to the university. And as well as it's very convenient and cheap for students, because you are a student at University of Kent. You actually get a you get a bus pass daily, or you can take a monthly one or a yearly pass. The daily pass is around 3.5 pounds, which is quite cheap, and you can travel as many times in the Canterbury town as many times as you want. So that definitely travel is quite cheap in Canterbury. So even if you stay outside the university, your traveling cost would not be that high compared to London. About food, university has a lot of options inside the, like there are a lot of options for food inside the university. I think there are around 10 cafes, bars, etc. So food is not that much of a problem. Wolf College, most of the postgraduate accommodations do not have a catering service, so you need to cook your own food. You don't have a mess or something where you can go and eat. Those are available, but I think it is mostly available for the undergraduate students. But there are different schemes offered by University of Kent where you get coupons, and those coupons can be redeemed in different cafes. So you can read about it, you can take that. But I think if you're coming to UK, be prepared to cook at least few times a week. So learn cooking if you don't know at least a little bit of it. About books, IT and stationery, I would completely agree with Praveen, but as we have to give offline exams and we need to write on pen and with pen and paper or in the exam, I always recommend students to have some practice, because then if you are so much used to using a computer, you may not have very like if you will not be quick in your examination. So at least before the exams, I think you should practice papers, and this is a personal advice on paper, so that you are quick during the exam time. Socializing and entertainment. So basically, University of Kent has around 250 or I think higher number of clubs. I don't know the number of clubs. So they have societies and they have different academic and non-academic clubs. For example, they have an Invicta Actuarial Society, which do conduct social as well as academic events for actuarial students. And if other courses students are interested, even they can enroll in that society. So if you attend a lot of events which are organized by these societies, then definitely it doesn't cost you any money. And there are plenty of events all throughout the year. Apart from that, Kent Union is the student society at University of Kent, which is a big thing at the University of Kent, and they organize multiple events throughout the year. I can't even count the number of years, number of events uh, they they did in a year. So if you attend those events and socialize in that, I think it won't cost you that much. Especially in the first week when you come to university, they name it as Welcome Week. They organize plenty of events during that time, so that people get to know each other. And most of it is free to come. Food is free, drinks are free. So yeah, so you can socialize. But yes, if you go out and eat on a regular basis, that can definitely cause a burden to your budget. Travel, sorry, laundry seemed a little expensive to me when I came to UK. So I would say laundry is a little bit expensive, but during winter, I think the number of times you do laundry reduces. And also it's a hassle because you need to go to the laundry room. So yeah, it is one part that I find difficult. Healthcare, again, I agree with Praveen. Others, I agree with Praveen. It's completely the same if you buy it at London or Kent. Yes.
So we
And
could
cost of
say that.
sorry, Ashnoot, cost of visa can change a little bit slightly. So if when you apply, you can go to the UK government website, which has each and every detail about how to apply for student visa. And in that website itself, you apply. So yes, you can read about the exact cost during your time in that website. Yeah, sorry, Ashnoot, you can continue.
So again, like the cost of visa, tuition fees, accommodation, food, basic traveling. I mean, these are all kind of compulsory costs. Rest, depending on how you want to, your standard of living or your own interests, the costs might vary. It would be right to say it should be around 30,000 pounds for 1 year, a basic
Higher,
budget.
higher, at least in my understanding.
Higher
Higher.
than 30,000 pounds. So
Yes.
just taking 100 as a approximate value, it's less than that, it's 92 1 pound. Taking it to be 100, I mean 30 lakhs is what we are getting. And then again, this could vary pretty much depending whether you're in London main town or you're at Kent. And obviously depending upon your own, standard of living. So that's just one of the figures which a few of you might be interested to. And this is ignoring any sort of scholarship. In case you are getting scholarships, your overall cost would be lower.
Keep the base for London as 40,000.
Yes, actually. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
Even Kent, I would say 35,000 is minimum.
So 35,000 to 40,000, a bit more. So all of you do keep in mind. And again, remember one thing, we have a very different way of living over here in India. We have access to very cheap human labor. That is something which is not the case in UK. So either you do the stuff yourself, and in case you need some other person to do it, it's gonna be pretty expensive, if my understanding is correct.
I mean, if I have to add, if you eat out daily, you're going to break your bank. Like if you eat out once, it's going to cost you 15 pounds. And if you cook, you can cook for a week in 15 pounds. So that's the difference in the profit restaurants are making in London. So you have to learn cooking. It's necessary. And you have to learn good cooking, because if you eat bland food, you're gonna automatically get depressed and won't be able to concentrate on your exams and studying. That's the focus here. Any of you who is coming is here for the exemptions. There's nothing else that you all want, and food is the number one thing that makes people homesick and depressed and sad, and then a ton of things follow. Make sure you have basically, if you know, like 6 7 things that you can cook to very nice degree and you can eat it on a rotational basis, that's really important for surviving here. Like, I can't stress enough about it.
And
Yes.
on that, another thing is probably the temperature there is pretty different. Given it's a bit more cold and temperate, people do end up facing a lot of mental issues or probably depression and all, given the temperature and
it
right.
it gets dark now at 4:30. It's 4:30 is now India 7 o'clock. It's that dark at 4:30. So
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, do keep these factors in mind. Apart from the usual job opportunity, getting exemptions, there are other various lifestyle changes as well, which would be coming. So always do account for that while making a decision whether you should be pursuing, masters in actuarial science from UK universities or not. So moving forward, Um, so I guess we have been asking questions, I mean, a lot of you. So anything else you might wish to add? Apart from that, we might start with the Q&A session directly from students. Anything either of you might wish to add?
Yeah, I would speak about post-study work visa. Praveen did briefly say about it. So currently, UK government is offering 2 year post-study work visa to every master's or undergraduate student, and it is 3 years for PhD student. So so there are things you should know before you consider that PSW is something that you'll get if you take the student visa and come over here. The first important factor is that you need to pass your degree, not exemptions, but you need to pass your degree. That is, I think it is 50% for master's degree, at least for Kent, I know that. So you need to score 50% in your degree and pass your degree to be able to get that post-study work visa. Your university informs the home office that you have passed the degree and you have the graduation certificate, and henceforth you can apply for the post-study work visa. Second important thing is, after your university is over and your results are declared, etc., etc., you need to be in UK to be able to apply for the post-study work visa. So you need to check, like, the dates and all. You need to be in UK for that. Like, for example, I am supposed to apply for my post-study work visa. So when I apply, I have to be in UK to be able to apply that. So it's a very important factor, which I think a lot of people don't know or don't read about properly. Thirdly, it does cost you money. It costs you around 2,000, lesser than £2,000. Please check the website for the exact amount for you to take that post-study work visa. But definitely for students who are coming at a fresher level, I would say, who it is an add-on to have this opportunity to take PSW, because there are companies who do not sponsor visa. So for those kind of job roles, having a 2 year post-study work visa or telling the company that I will sponsor my own 2 year post-study work visa does give you an edge when you're applying. Because when you try to get a job in a company abroad, it is very important that your visa is sorted. And there are companies who do not sponsor visa, at least for students who have lesser experience, like 1 year experience. It depends on your luck and which company do you apply. So it cannot, like, you cannot have a mindset that you will get a work visa over here, especially if you just have a 1 year experience or 2 year experience. Me and my classmates, all of us had around 1 to 2 year experience, and all of us are taking post-study work visa for our jobs. So this is one point that everybody should keep in mind. It's good if you get a work visa like sponsorship, but if you don't get taking the post-study work visa, taking a job, eventually the company will sponsor or some other company will sponsor. So yes, PSW is a very, very important factor when you consider coming to UK.
Would you like to add anything, Praveen, before we start with the Q&A?
not really. I'm sure everything's covered. Yeah.
Sure. Perfect then. So all of you have any questions pending or any other clarification you would want, please feel free to post that in the chat box. Do make sure you're addressing it to everyone so that all of them can view it. I would be still repeating the question so that everyone is aware what we are discussing on. So
I'd like to answer Yash's question. Yash is going to Kent, but the question is for both of us. Technically, he just wants to decide which specialization papers he need to take. So here is the thing. I had this question in my mind as well because I want to do SP5 and 6, and technically it is deviating from the actuarial path and going into finances and investments and, let's say, the wider fields. That's what I want to do. So when I asked seniors in the field what am I supposed to do, like, is should I take an SP7 to improve my chances of getting a job here or something, what they told me was that pick subjects that you are interested in, pick subjects that you are willing to grow in. Do not pick subjects for the want of a job or for the want of some temporary thing, because that will not work out. I am definitely picking SP6 because CM2 so far has been my favorite paper. So that is how I chose my paper. I am really, if you're good at something, you're definitely getting work in that field, and you like and grow, and you'll grow faster in that field. So that's how you should decide on your papers. There's nothing else. No job, no nothing should impact what paper you want to study, because I know seniors who tell me they studied life but are now working in investment. Some people studied general are working in life. So whatever work you get, it's really not that important what paper you take. It's just that you get your exemption and get that degree. I mean, if you study what you like, you're going to get that exemption. So that's about it. I mean, Pratima can add more.
No, I agree on that. Um, and if you have experience and you like the work that you're doing, then I would suggest go for the SP subjects that are like, if you are working in general, then go for SP 7 and 8, but not necessarily. It's not a hard and fast rule. And of course, you need to see what can you study and get exemptions for. So yes, agree with you.
And some people come here and take 3 SP papers. So with 3 SP papers, it's naturally impossible to do the same thing.
Yes.
So so that's always available. Some people just do an SP7 and SP5, or an SP8 and an SP5. Like SP5 is just like, okay, let's do this because it's easier.
I myself have done SP2 and SP7 because I was interested in life as well as general. So I took up both the papers which I liked. So yes, people do that kind of combinations. And I don't think at beginning level of jobs, it is more like the companies actually look at what SP subjects you've done. They may look at it, but it's not necessarily that they will look. So it's not a big thing. I think you should see what interests you, what you're able to study, and what you can get exemptions.
And just one thing, don't pick pensions. Pensions is a dying industry. All defined benefit plans are dying. So, or are just being like, there's no new scheme members being added to those plans. So pensions is pretty much irrelevant because no DB schemes are left.
Another
Praveen,
thing,
sorry. Praveen, does base offer SP like pension as a SP subject? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Kent doesn't offer that. So if someone wants to do pension, then Kent doesn't offer SP1. Is it SP1 or SP0? Whatever.
SP,
It doesn't.
4.
Okay. So it doesn't offer the pension subject. Yeah.
So on that, I'll just like to add, in general, a lot of you have questions, which SP papers you need to select, especially ones, who are right out of college, do not have any work experience. Uh, so, I mean, just keep in mind, you can do anything, whether you want to select SP1, SP8, SP1, SP9, you can take anything. It doesn't matter. Obviously, there would be certain benefits, certain disadvantages of certain combinations. For, ones who are working, it might make more sense to specialize on the area you are currently working in. In case you're in life insurance, SP2 might make sense. You might have a lot of knowledge to your working as well. In case you're in GI, SP7 and SP8 might make sense. When I was working, so my manager used to tell me that certain companies outside India, Europe or UK based, some of the companies have started having this criteria. If you want to become, let's say, like if you want to go ahead or grow, they would prefer to have you clearing the specific SP papers. Say example, for working in a GI company, they would expect you to have cleared SP7 and SP8. Again, it doesn't mean it's compulsory. It is just that it's gonna make your life easier if you are working in such a company. The rest, like personally, I was working in a general insurance setup. I have studied, not cleared the SP7, SP8 papers, and currently I'm pursuing investment papers simply because it's my natural inclination. I enjoy doing that. It's very easy for me to do it. Even if I study for 10 hours in a day, it's not a stretch. Whereas when I was studying SP7 or 8, I mean, even studying 1 hour was a pretty big stretch. So keep that in mind. There is no right or wrong. Certain things might be easier for you, certain things might be easier for somebody else. See your own scenario, what makes more sense to you. And for ones right outside college, I mean, start working and maybe then take a decision. Few decisions could be natural. If you're working in life insurance, you find that interesting, SP2 might become a natural choice. Keep in mind, it is not a compulsion. I mean, if you want some other papers, you like it, you might do that as well. Ignore, what me or anyone else might have to suggest. Just keep in mind, you can do any papers. You will have certain advantages and disadvantages. It's not that you can't do anything. A lot of you feel, I want to study GI paper, I want to study risk management, SP9 paper, but I'm doing a life insurance job. Does it make sense or not? So see, it depends. If you like doing that, if you like studying, if passing a paper quickly is a criteria, you might select those papers. But on the other hand, you need to keep in mind how your employer might view it, whether they want any specific papers or not, which might help you to grow fast in your career. So be a bit open-minded about it. And I also feel it's always better to do things which you're good at, because even if you're working very hard in it, it becomes very easier. Like you don't complain about it. And if you pick up something, a lot of students have this tendency right now. GI is the big thing. I have worked in GI, so I can, honestly say, just don't select GI papers because you hear people getting a higher compensation right now. You never know, things might change in future. I mean, people working at life insurance might get paid higher or whatever. So take that decision yourself. You might find GI interesting. You might even find pensions interesting or investment or life. Take that call for yourself. uh, don't rely on what others say because they might have their own circumstances, own preferences. Keep that in mind. Don't blame others for your own decision. It's up to you all, to decide what might, work best for you. Um, Next
Uh,
question.
I have to
I mean,
answer
I hope yes,
Dhruvi's
your question
question.
was addressed. So another question, Prathama, addressed to you probably is from yours. In the MSc in Applied Actuarial Science with year in industry, 2-year program, can the internship year be cancelled if we secure a full-time graduate role before the internship begins?
Yeah, I think I'll answer his question 2 and question 3 together because it's kind of almost answers. The answer is the same. So yes, you can take this degree, MSc in Applied Actual Science with year in industry, which is the 2-year program, and apply for whatever roles you want to apply. That could be graduate roles, that could be full-time jobs which are not graduate, and it can be year in industry programs or whatever internship. Anything you get, it is okay. Your in industry can be cancelled if you get a full-time job and you want to pursue that. Even the fees that they charge for the year in industry, you need to give only after like 1 year, and then when you actually start your year in industry. So that is not an issue. If you are a student who has taken MSc in Applied Actual Science without the year in industry, but later on you decide that you want to do year in industry, so you can go for it, and you can just inform the university, complete the formalities, increase your student visa, and you can do that also. uh, so yes, there is no hard and fast rule that if you take the year in industry course, then you have to do a year in internship. In fact, there are students who are unable to secure the internships. So if you are unable to secure an internship, you automatically shift back to the 1-year degree. So yes, that is a point. um,
Next question I'll address to Praveen. It's from Dhruvi. If you opt for CS2 or CM2 at base, what are the chances that you get it? I'm assuming she means probably exemption.
Yeah. So first things first, you can't apply to both.
Could you be a bit louder, Praveen?
Yeah. You can't apply to both. You have only one choice remaining after taking two SPs. So in that choice, you have to either take CP2 or any one of the core principles, which can be either CM2, CS2, or CB2, CB1. So you can only pick one of them. And if you do pick any of them, the chances of getting exemption are I think from base it's I think the last time they showed this to us, it was 60% chance of getting an exemption from base, whereas around 40% from if you were writing from IFOA. So that's about the difference. So it is still going to be hard, but you have like a 20% higher chance of passing. So that's
At a higher cost, obviously.
yeah.
Okay.
And also, I mean, you have to study for it. I mean, it's a weird question. I mean, I don't know how else I'm gonna
Students
talk.
have it, they some of them feel that studying at masters might be the easy route. I mean, I'll say either in the sense you have professors who's gonna help you, you have peers, everyone is studying. That environment might make it easy, but apart from that, it's not that it's gonna be some magic wand happening. You can study very easily. That is not going to be the
The
case.
papers
Don't
are
put that.
equally hard. So I mean, currently, if I'm talking about my current experience, I have CP1 specimen papers. There is a 40-mark question which asks me to identify errors that the junior analyst has made, and I haven't even worked in life insurance. How am I supposed to find those errors? The questions are going to be harder, I think, because they are teaching you industry application. They're not teaching you what IFO is prescribing. IFO is like question answer. Here it's more what would have happened if this is happening. So there is some element of that as well.
Thanks for that. Next question is from Pooja. I guess Pratima could answer it. It's related to Kent. Does living in Kent affect kind of job opportunities one gets since it's
Not in London, yeah.
not in London, right?
Basically, it doesn't affect as such, at least in my experience. Of course, if you are in London, it is easier for you to attend a lot of events which are held for students, or different actual societies conduct events. So it would be easier for you to attend those. But if you really want to attend, you can actually travel from Canterbury as well. It just takes around 1 to 1.5 hours from university to come to central London. But definitely it doesn't make lot of difference, because you are still in UK. If you are so you can apply for jobs, and if there are interviews, you can go to different places in UK and give interviews. I have seen that companies do reimburse that cost as well. And nowadays a lot of things are online, so you can give interviews online as well, depending on which company you are applying. So it doesn't make that much of a difference, at least in my experience. Most of my friends from University of Kent, who are from India, have been placed, and we all were staying in Kent, applied from Kent, did all the interview application process, everything from Kent, and some of them traveled to London to give some interviews, which was arranged by the company itself. So yes, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Yeah.
Also,
Next one is a
I'll just
pretty
add a little bit. All the jobs are in London, so so you have to be here. Like somehow so you can study anywhere, but like the jobs are in the big cities. So
yeah. Next question is a very subjective and tricky one, pretty much which everyone wants to ask. Is it worth spending this much amount of money and changing the environment to get the master's degree?
Depends on your purpose. What are you looking for? Uh, if you I wanted to finish my papers and I was looking for that. So for me, it was a worth investment, because I am able to secure my exemptions. But it is a very personal thing. People do come for different reasons. People come to study, people come to get a job, people come to just take advantage of the environment, have a carefree life. So I don't think as a panelist I can say if it is worthy or not. I think if your intentions are clear, and if your purpose to come to UK is clear, and that is in aligned with the amount of money you are spending, it is a worth investment.
So when I was calculating this for myself, I was doing a bunch of different things. So firstly, if I would let's just take it in this manner. If you write these papers from IFOA one by one, it's going to take you 2.5 years, given you pass all of them in the first attempt. So that's 2.5 years of you working and studying and giving those papers. But this gives you 4 or 5 papers in 1 year. So now I have 1.5 years where I am completely free, where I can start earning a higher amount. So then there, do this analysis for yourself. What are your opportunity cost? What is the opportunity cost of a 1.5 years? And then find out that difference and then try to make sense of it. Another thing is, let's say you are a GI guy, or you're interested in climate risk, or you're interested in ESG. None of that were like, drone insurance is not happening in India. uh, a lot of these new age general insurance products are not happening in India. So if you look at it in that aspect, you come here, you learn cutting edge products, and let's say you're now at the top of the game, and let's say circumstances make you want to like come back. So you're already at the top of the food chain. you you're going to be very skilled at so many things that India doesn't even have yet, because it's a developing country. Net zero implications, ESG implications, climate risk, developed countries have to take onus because they ruin the environment. So now they are doing more things about it. You learn more about that here. And then if in case you go back or you go somewhere else, like maybe it's not necessary you have to work in London only. Once you have that global mobility advantage, you can go work in Singapore, you can go work in Australia, you can go work in Canada. All of those things open up for you. So that also should be considered if you are calculating this for yourself, like how much of a global mobility do you want, is it worth for you? Another thing you need to consider is how many anchors you have back in India. Like, is there, is this just for, I mean, so many people come here, work for 5 years, get the indefinite leave to remain, and then go back. So that, if that is a plan, that is also a pretty good plan. Like if you have to eventually go back, get at least get the indefinite leave to remain here. Like, so there are multiple things, and each person is have to weigh. I just gave you a basic framework that I used for myself. And so just, there are several things, and then also prioritize your goals. Like, I want exemptions, I want to live in a like like one of the top cities in the world, or one of the top economies, or whatever. So all of those things play in. You also another thing that happens as a result is you make a global network. So your network is going to be more valuable than your course in general. Like, because even if you, so some people, so most, like some people are going back, so in my cohort, some people are going back to Kenya, some people are going back to Hong Kong, some people are going back to Malaysia and Singapore. So now I have friends in different parts of the globe, and you don't never know what opportunity opens up in the future. So it's all a very fudged calculation that you have to make, and it's also kind of a leap of faith that you have to take. So it's not measurable directly, but you can make like a sense of it. Like, if you're happy with that number, if you're happy with that worth, go for it. Otherwise, it's not there.
That pretty much summarizes it. Thanks a lot on that. Next, what are the average scholarship amounts that we can easily get?
I applied for all, I didn't get any. So
That's zero, which one can get easily.
yeah. So depends, right? Like, if you have a very compelling argument about your, first, compelling academic excellence, like you have displayed academic excellence a lot, like in your college you got like university topper or something, and all of those things matter there. And then you also have to display financial need. So whether you have taken a loan, what is your loan interest, how your family circumstances are, all of those things they ask. and you have to make a compelling argument for them to choose you. Also, there is a problem because they have a big thing going on for diversity. So if there's somebody from, let's say, so
Yeah.
there is a spectrum, right? So if a white male is at the bottom and LGBT somebody is at the top, so and then there's women, and then there's colored people, and then there's a spectrum where they also see, so you have to compete there as well. So it's again, there is no easy scholarship that you can get. If it was easy, everybody should have got it. So
Yeah. Next, a kind of a personal question. Did you consider other countries like France, etc., before you decided on UK?
I
Probably.
don't. Yeah, as far as I know, the combination of CP and SP subjects are offered by 3 universities. Headed which is in Scotland, uh, University of Kent, and Bayes Business School. So I don't think for the papers that we are looking, like we are talking about, any university in France gives exemptions. But if you know, then maybe yes. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, same like I had the three options and I was like, let's go to London.
Yes.
That's how I chose.
Yes.
And I mean, if you are interested in France, learn the language. You just you improve your job like what is it called, like the ability to get a job like multifold because you know a European language. So yeah.
Definitely. Next question is again, how difficult or manageable is it to get a score of 60 plus in all the papers?
You need to study regularly from the start of your beginning of your curriculum. Bayes offer exams twice in a year. I think in January they have their exams, and then in April or May. But Kent has back-to-back exam from May till August. We don't have any exams in January. We have directly in May. May is the CP subjects. Then June, July, you have enormous amount of assignments, and then in August you have your SP subjects. So anybody who comes here, the curriculum is vast. There are a lot of classes, there are assignments, courseworks, and a lot other things to do as well. Household work, cooking food, arranging everything for yourself. So I think you need to study regularly from the first day itself. Uh, yeah, there's no shortcut to hard work when you come here.
This is what I've said, right? Like in 50 days I haven't gone anywhere. Why is, like, I go to the university on
Will you be a
Saturday.
bit louder?
Yeah, I go to the university on Saturdays and Sundays as well. Like, I have a zero social life at the moment. I literally have to study so much. Don't be deceived by the fact that we have less the number of chapters. It's equally vast. It's equally time consuming to understand everything, condense it. Because see, you're getting 4 papers in a year, but that doesn't mean that the material has been reduced. It's condensed, but it's still as intense as it should be. Otherwise, IFOA is not going to give you the exemption. Like, IFOA has thoroughly checked the curriculum before giving this exemption to like exemption ability. So I mean, it definitely is hard. So you have to study. Getting 60 plus. So last, like, I haven't given all my exam. I haven't given any exam yet. So I would not be able to answer how difficult or manageable it is. But I have heard of people failing before. And so that's the worst situation to be in actually. So it's just guilt trip yourself and study.
You need to work hard. It's just that studying in masters might give a different set of environment. It might be productive to some of you, it might not be that productive to some of you. There's no easy way out. Some of you might have this thing, we are getting 4 5 papers done in 1 year. You are studying for those 4 5 papers as well. Maybe in India, you might not do that. You might procrastinate. There you have spent so much amount of money. You don't have a choice, but keep studying every day. So I guess hard work is something which sadly we all have to do. So next question we have is there any preference for people who didn't go for exemption route? Is it for
Definitely.
jobs, Pooja? Like, could you clarify your question a bit more?
Yeah, I was just thinking about jobs is in industry, is it like people are more preferred if
Do
they
you
have?
have experience?
Yeah, I have experience of 2 years.
Start applying in May. You can get a job directly. You don't even have to like come do the degree. When in May experienced hire roles open, just start
Okay,
applying left, right, center. Somebody might hire you.
right.
So
I was
many
like,
people are here that
yeah,
directly
I was,
came here.
yeah, still choosing to go through directly apply jobs in UK and get in, or go through education route. That is the confusion I had. I just
I
thought
mean,
education route is much easier to get opportunities, and
yeah,
you
that's
also
a
get exemptions.
short ticket. Yeah, that's a short ticket that you get entry into the market and you will get a job and people. The direct job is kind of a long shot, but there are several people who have done it before. And now I recently met somebody who is here with 3 exams and has a job here. And I met them on a networking events, kind of like a networking event. And it's weird, like how some people just get lucky and they get that job and they make that switch. And it's so, yeah, apply. I would, there is nothing less. If you don't ask, the answer is always no, right? So just keep applying.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah.
Next question. I mean, if either of you would want to answer that, job perspective after investment papers and how the work like in this domain. Not sure if anyone has relevant experience in that, but feel free to answer.
So yeah, I mean, investment papers are the specialization that I'm going to take, but my real interest lies in ERM and credit risk management, to be very honest. So if you talk about derivatives, SP6 basically, it's used in every company here: banking, insurance, hedge funds, um, even so even commodity companies are basically using derivatives. So you open yourself to so many opportunities, so that is one thing that happens. But if you want to like take up a direct traditional investment consulting role, you can also, so even JP, so otherwise if you take life or health papers or general papers, you are not applying to JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs or Barclays or HSBC or something. But with these investment papers, you can apply to those companies as well, so you increase the pool of companies that you can apply to. And honestly, like senior members of the industry really say that the paper really doesn't matter. Some people have been working in life for 8 years and then they switch to investment and then they switch to climate. So there is, the jobs are going to be fluid. You essentially just get a like a good numerate ability around a particular subject, and then that just transfers onto your role. So it's not a it's not a very clear cut question to be answered. I mean, that's how it is. Like, I mean, that's what IFO is selling. We are basically solving problems, whatever they may be. So, yeah.
Okay, we'll just have to be a bit conscious of time. We have probably another 30 minutes or so, and we have a lot of questions. So, next one is, are candidates with 1+ year experience considered for fresher graduate role or experience level? I guess it's both, depending which role they are applying for.
Morely towards fresher or graduate role. This is my understanding and experience. And yeah, but if you can secure a job that is of an experienced professional, then very good. But then you have to be prepared that you can get a graduate or a fresher role with 1 year
Okay.
of experience.
Then next is, how is it managing studies without any class support?
Oh, there is class support. I don't know what the question specifies, because there is class support. The lecturers, if you mean that how much support can you expect from lecturers, then the lecturers are quite supportive. You can go and ask them doubts at the allotted time. They like, at least they have a time where you can go directly knock on the door and talk to them, or you can email them, set up a time and go. So there is class support. You also have peers with whom you can study, discuss. So and if you talk about Indians, you get a lot of Indian people studying at base or Kent. So we organically become a group, like at least. So we do all study together. So there is enough class support. There are discussions. There are sessions. There are also a non-academic, like you get a chance to make presentation and show in front of the class. All that adds to your class support. So I think there is enough support from the university or the lecturers, which will help you to study. It's just that you need to study on your own and know what you don't know. So you can go and ask to a professor. So that is your responsibility or job. It is not that the professors will take care of how much are you studying or not. They will guide you, but you have to do the work yourself, and they are there to correct you if you are going wrong. Yes.
Next question is, can you please elaborate on chances of passing CP1 and getting the exemption?
Uh, I have got the CP1 exemption. CP1 is in two modules at Kent and as well as in base. At like So the lecturers use the lecture slides to teach, and also they use the discussion sessions to teach you about CP1. CP1 is a subject which is very broad, and you need to write a lot of points about different questions in the exam. So if you are at a place where there are lots of professionals with different experiences at different levels in their profession. For example, there in your class there will be students who are who just finished their bachelor's degree, or they have 2 years of experience, or they have 10 years of experience. So in a place where there are people with so varied experience, you get to learn a lot from different people from the countries they come. So I think that gives you more points. To be specific, it gives you more points that you can write in the exam. Also, the lecturers are mostly experienced professionals from the industry, so they can tell you more about wherever they have worked and their past experience, and that also adds on to your ability to write answers in a like in a proper manner during exams. So that way it has helped me. And of course there are specimen papers, there are courseworks that enables you to research online, and which increases your knowledge about the subject. And there are past papers of the university which you can refer back, like we refer the IFOA past year questions similarly. And then of course you can definitely read the IFOA past year question papers as well as to like for CP1 and other subjects. And all of this adds up to your increase in probability of getting exemptions for CP1.
Just one thing to add in between. Do keep in mind, even IAI does provide exemption to papers, for ones who have studied masters in actuarial science. You could visit their website and, take a look at the list of universities. So that was probably one thing. Keep in mind, both IFOA and II, at least as per today, are providing exemptions for papers which one would have studied, via masters in actuarial science. And Praveen, if I recall correctly, you were mentioning that the historical passing percentage is 60% roughly at base. So, I mean, objectively, you can think in that way. There's probably say around 60% chance of you getting an exemption from CP1, at least at base. Whereas from IFOA, you could compare the numbers which are available in the website, 35, 40%, whatever is the case. I mean, see, again, apart from that, it's going to be very subjective. Uh, Different students might find the course, at a different difficulty. Some might find IFOA easier route. Some of them could find the university a more easier route. Okay. Next is another question is, how long is it suggested for one should stay in the industry so that you come to know what the actual job is about before applying for masters? It's a question from Ishan.
Can I rethink of this question? Like, let's say you started in GI and you eventually just stopped liking it, so you changed to a life. Otherwise, what's the point of leaving? Like, if you are happy with where you are, why are you leaving? I don't. Or if you just want to know about each of these places, I guess you can just talk to the people in the industry and find out what they do. Why do you want to spend your time in it? Like, learn from experience. So I think that's the best thing. Like, just get to know, get an idea of what they do, what their daily life is like, what they do on a daily basis, and that should give you a pretty good idea. You don't really necessarily go have to run those models. If their work excites you, "Oh, this sounds interesting, or this does nice," then just go into it. Don't go
See, if
into
your
it.
question is about the work, I mean, alternatively, if you work at a consultancy, like say the Big Four, that might also provide you with the opportunity to work in probably various different departments compared to a core insurance industry. So that is one advantage. Let's say if you work at a consultancy, you might get your hands on life insurance work or general insurance or pensions, investments, or something else. Apart from that, honestly, I mean, we probably don't have the luxury to know what exactly the work entails, even within the same sector. Depending on the team you are in, the work could be extremely different. So, no easy answer for that, I would say. I mean, you just try and then you hope you get lucky that you end up liking whatever you are working.
One trick to this is talk to people senior in the industry. Don't hesitate and just connect to senior managers and directors. They have time and they do respond, and they will even take calls with you, and they will talk to you about it. So they
Oh.
normally are happy to respond to queries like this. So do that.
Praveen, could you be a bit louder, I
Yeah,
guess?
they're happier to respond to queries, and I mean, kind of tell what they do. So that's a better choice, I guess.
As long as you're not asking their pay, they are pretty much comfortable to address
Yeah.
your queries. So just keep that in mind. Also, like another question which I'm a bit surprised many haven't asked because they do so informally is what sort of compensation could one expect? Maybe as a fresher or just a 1 year experience at UK post completing their, let's say, masters in actuarial science. Any tentative figure, either of you?
Do you want to take this, Pratima? You just
Yeah,
got a
I
job.
can. I can. If you talk about fresher level, it could be I'll first talk about internships. If you are going to get internship or a year in industry, uh, it could be around 22,000 to 30,000 pounds. All these figures are rough, so can vary depending on case to case basis. But for industry year or internship, it could be from 22,000 to 30,000 pounds a year. For fresher level jobs, it could be 28,000 to 40,000, depending on your if you have a year of experience, or are you going for graduate roles or graduate schemes, or it's a completely fresher job. For experienced professionals, it could be higher. It depends on the number of years of experience you have. For 1 to 2 years of experience, also, I would say it is around 40,000 pounds. For 4 to 5 years of experience, I think it is way higher, something more than 60,000 pounds or something. So it depends on case to case basis. Also depends on whether you are working in a consultancy company or are you working in a life insurance industry, general insurance, pensions. If you have relevant experience, how many actual exams have you passed, and all that. So yeah, but this is a rough figure that you can expect over here.
Yeah, I agree with Pratima. But another thing that I want to add is that some, like, I have spoken to some alumni, and they say that the salaries are enough to repay the loan in 2 years. So let's say you take a
Yes.
40 lakh loan, you're able to repay it in 2 years and live in London. That means, just make a rough calculation. That's about how much you're going to be spending or earning.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks on that. Next question is it difficult or easy to understand the course? I'm assuming this is the Masters in Actuarial Science course for CP and SP papers with CS1, CM1, CB1, CB2, CS2 cleared. Basically, the core principal papers except CM2 and CB3. Any specific paper you have to clear to understand the course better?
Yeah, so if you take SP6, you'll have a hard time because it is built on SCM2. But otherwise, you'll be good to go. Like, everything else is fair enough. And CP1, though, I think just needs basics of everything. So, yeah. it won't be hard for you. I mean, you've practically cleared everything except CM2 in the core principles. So yeah, SP6 will be hard, but yeah, everything else should be fine.
Okay. Next question is again, if you have 3 to 4 years of actuarial experience and have cleared less actuarial exams, then would you suggest doing masters and achieving more papers to get a job in UK, or applying directly would be a better option?
Mm. I would say that ultimately you have to understand that passing papers is also very important. Experience in work is definitely a very, very good thing and added advantage. But the long-term goal of everybody sitting in this webinar is that we need to complete our papers. So if this has been your experience that with work you have not been able to manage your studies, or you've not been able to clear as many papers as you wanted to clear, then definitely taking a break and going for a 1 year master's degree, finishing up a few papers does help. I know people in my batch who had 9 years of experience, 7 years of experience, but they were unable to finish their papers from IFOA. So they took a break of 1 year and they came and they appeared and they have been able to get all exemptions. And now they're good to go. They just have one essay paper left and rest all is done. With 3 to 4 years of actual experience, it is much, much easier to get a job in UK as well as getting a higher salary. So that would be a very added advantage in my understanding. But yes, definitely every student's last goal is to finish all their exams and have a good job. So if with that respect, I think a person should consider doing masters and finishing up their papers.
Yeah, like similarly, I just want all my papers to be done. I'm I want that first. So it choose what you want. So yeah.
And Praveen, you just mentioned about a 2.5 year analogy, like if you gave exams directly from IFOA with work. So please follow that. And I think that's a very good example of what you should think before you're coming to study abroad.
I mean, to add to that, I mean, one way to look at is, I mean, we all have different level of discipline, different level of liking to what we are studying. Some of us might sit for even 3, 4 papers from IFA or II in a year and clear them. But that might not be true for all of you, especially working ones. So I feel for working individuals who are finding it difficult to manage both, work and studies together, for them, taking masters is even a better route, because they can focus on their exams, get a substantial progress in them, and then again they might join the job probably at a higher compensation and then grow further on. For just fresh graduates, unless you have fancy to stay in London or something like that. Other than that, I mean, I just personally feel that there's not much to gain compared to the cost. Again, you might have different factors going on, but exams wise, if you have 6, 7 papers cleared, you're probably 21 or 22 or even 20. You still have time. But for somebody who's 26, 27, a lot of other factors come into play. So they might prefer the master's route a little bit more, so that they can get done with the papers. So, I mean, keep that in mind. Probably for working ones, master's route might be a better way to get done with the papers. For ones who are in college or who aren't working, you have the time. You could even clear 3, 4 papers in 1 year. It's doable. I have personally done way back. I have a lot of students who sit for 3, 4 papers, even higher papers. They have gone on to become fellows. So it's not impossible. Just that you need to do everything yourself. You need to be disciplined. You can't procrastinate. There's nobody else coming and telling to you, that you don't have any other alternative. Once you're doing masters, I mean, that's the benefit key. You have paid a lot of money and you don't have any other choice than to study and, get done with your papers. So keep that in mind. And then again, ultimately it's the personal factors. There are probably 10, 20 factors, various ways to look at it. Comes down to your own personal circumstances, amount of money you can afford, your opportunity cost, and ultimately what your life goals are. If you want to settle abroad, I mean, pursuing masters might be the easier route. You want to come back to India, you need to keep in mind the cost which you're you need to take to pursue it, chances of getting the desired expansion, exemptions, and whether you again want to just come back to India and start working here. Because in India, I don't think so the pays are going to be extremely high, even if you have 13, 14 papers cleared, but no experience. I mean, you're still going to get a fresher level pay only. So keep that thing in mind. Another question is the academic year for 2023, which is starting in September, admissions for them are starting from this November itself.
Yep.
Right. Any counselors you would recommend to talk to about scholarships, ANSs, etc.?
So scholarships are Google. Find them out. Find on Google. You don't need counselors for that. For the application, you can choose some of the high, like good counselors. Applications are free. University pays them. So why do you want to take the hassle? Essays are paid. Write your own essays because uh, you don't want a templated answer which might get rejected, and also your it takes a little bit of an effort. There are plenty of videos on YouTube who people successful applications to Harvard, successful applications to Ivy League. Read their SOPs, get an idea of how they draft their SOP, and write your own SOP. That's easier. Yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah, definitely learn IFRS. Like it's my advantage right now because I have a lot of knowledge on, because I did CA. I have IFRS 9, IFRS 16, IFRS 17. I know IFRS 17. It's a very big advantage. I mean, like if you can get around regulation, if you get around what the like you already know what is needed. So YouTube, you can learn. YouTube is the best place to learn anything actually. Like if I mean, or best place to learn IFRS. I mean, this is now a weird thing to say, but I learned most of my IFRS 9 at ACs. And it in that 10, 11 months that I was there, my IFRS 9 went from exam level to proper application level. So that is one thing. Get a job in a direct uh, IFRS 9 slash actuarial role, which gets you a lot of that knowledge. Insurance companies, big four, they're working big time on IFRS 17. Get into those roles because if you learn the most there, unless you're applying, unless you're reading. So literally all the material is available online. IFRS 9 is a 900-page book, just IFRS 9. So it's available online, but if you consume it, you're not gonna really get any sort of um, knowledge on it, because as long as you're not applying basic examples, even in exams, right, you are given like one or two policies, do profit testing, do this, that. It's not how it works. So only way to really get it is to work in it. So basics you get from YouTube. All these leverage CA coaching institutions, they have these free revision lectures, 1 hour they will cover all the basic concepts of IFRS 9. Just go and watch that if you're interested in it. And then once you know the basics, you can read up some material. There are really good articles available online. Read them, then you're sorted.
No, there is no examination, I guess, for it as such. I mean, some of the institutes might be giving some certification course, but I don't think it's anything compulsory. It's more about your work experience than about cramming stuff.
But yeah, right, this is a really good point to make. Like apart from software skill, if you know regulation, especially IFRS, it boosts your chances a lot.
Definitely. So, thanks to both of you, Pratima and Praveen, for taking out time and speaking out regarding this particular course. I hope both of you would be fine in case any one of them has doubts and could reach out to you maybe over LinkedIn itself for any other queries. So, in case any of your queries were not answered or you still have any further queries, I mean, feel free to reach out to them. Keep in mind, they are also busy with their own stuff, so it might take time for them to respond to you. So hope that you all did find the session pretty helpful. And we have a link which Praveen has shared with us. It's
On this
probably
link, yeah, they open up something called as information sessions. They should start about this month, and you can just register for them, and they'll give you good presentations. The course director and the admissions officer, they all take those basically sessions where they will give you proper statistics of how likely it is to pass from base and how likely it is to pass from IFOA, and what are the papers you can take in term 1, papers you can take in term 2. It's like a full session of 2 hours, and you can attend that, and you'll get like a full understanding of the entire course structure as well, so that you can do.
that should
And
be.
you can connect with professors and ask them if you have any industry related question, and they answer. So
Yes, I think same sessions are conducted by University of Kent. You can find the link on the website and just attend it.
Sure. Thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining this session. Hope that you all did find it useful and did learn a lot from this. So thanks everyone.
cool.
Thank you
All
so
the best,
much.
everybody. If you're applying, if you're not applying, I mean, it's just information. But yeah, all the best for your exams. I'm pretty sure you all have exams in April. So
Yeah. Thank you. All the best, everyone.